If you clicked on this video, chances are that you're a complete beginner at Fortnite, or you're already decent, but you want to take your gameplay to the next level. I spent hours gathering all of the tips and tricks I've learned over my time playing this game, and even watching pros play the game, and I can safely say that no matter how good you are, you will learn something that will help you improve your gameplay from this video. So make sure to watch it all and pay close attention, so that way there you don't miss any important information. So first off, no matter how good you are at controller, this first piece of advice I'm about to give you guys is extremely important to remember every single time you play. Otherwise, you won't be playing at your best performance. And what I'm referring to is how you hold your controller. There's a few things that go into the way you hold your controller, like how you place your thumbs on the thumbstick, if you play claw, paddles, or neither, and the texture of your hands and controller while you play. So I think it should be pretty obvious that before playing, you're gonna want to make sure that your hands are clean and not sweaty, so you don't lose grip on your controller. So simply just wash your hands. I like to use cold water and a little bit of soap and then very aggressively dry my hands. I know it sounds really strange, but it makes my hands feel refreshed and less sweaty, which in turn makes me play at my best more consistently because my hands feel comfortable on my controller. Next is how you hold your controller. There's 3 different grips that most people who play on controller use, which is claw, paddles, or non-claw, non-paddles. I would recommend playing claw or paddles since playing these gives you access to more buttons without having to constantly move your thumbs off your sticks, which I shouldn't even need to explain why moving your thumbs off of your sticks is not good. The goal is to be able to click any button that you think you might need to as fast as you can, which is much easier to do when you don't have to move your thumbs so much. If you can't figure out if you want to play claw or paddles, what you can do is start out by trying to play claw for a week or even a month, and if after that much time it still doesn't feel comfortable, I have a link to the controller I use in the description, which is a PS5 Scuff Reflex. But if that's too pricey for you, I'm also gonna leave an Amazon link to an attachment for controllers in the description as well. Now that you have your controller in a comfortable position in your hands and you're just about ready to play the game, before you do so, there's a few things you'll want to do to reduce your latency, ping, and increase your performance as well. So first, I'm gonna talk about an app that will help you improve your ping. If you have a slow Wi-Fi connection and get fairly high ping in game, this app, in my opinion, is the best way to lower your ping. So on central servers, I get about 60 to 70 ping, but with GearUp Booster, all I have to do is click boost, and suddenly my ping drops down to the same ping I play on in East, which if you don't know is the main server I play on. So when I first tried GearUp, I was actually really shocked. I genuinely thought that I was still playing on East servers and that GearUp just wasn't legit, but no, GearUp actually was reducing my ping to central servers, and by a lot. I would highly recommend using this, especially if you feel like you've tried everything you can to reduce your ping but just can't figure it out. If you don't trust me and you're a little bit skeptical about GearUp, don't worry, I was the same at first, but just trust the known pros like Asian Jeff, Mero, and Day, and other content creators even that also use GearUp. GearUp also provides something called HyperEV, which is basically just GearUp for console players. So if you want to try GearUp, you can click the link I have in the description for a free 1-day trial. And if you play on console, the link to HyperEV will be there as well. Personally, I would give GearUp a 10 out of 10 rating because this is one of the first products that genuinely shocked me with how well it worked and how easy it is to use. I mean, I went from 60 to 70 ping all the way down to 20 to 30. That's like, what, 40 ping? Anyways, let me know in the comments how much your ping was reduced by while using GearUp. So now that your ping is decreased with GearUp, I'm gonna show you guys some things you can do to get less delay on PS5, Xbox, and even PC. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys some tweaks that you can do on PC. So first things first, you're gonna wanna go into the search bar and type startup apps. Make sure you have everything that's not important set to off. As you can see, like Glorious Core, Microsoft Edge, all of this stuff normally might be on. So you want to make sure this is turned off as it's going to clog up resources on your PC. Next, in the search bar again, you want to search up game mode settings and just turn game mode off. And then going from the game mode settings, you want to go to game bar and just turn this off. Then next, if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you're gonna open GeForce Experience and just go to your drivers. And as you can see, even I have to update a driver here. So just press download and make sure to always download and update your drivers. For PS5 players, go to your settings, then go to accessories, and then go to controller general and set your communication method as use USB cable. Also make sure that your DualSense wireless controller device software is updated. For Xbox players, go to your settings, then to devices and connections, click on accessories, click the 3 dots under the controller that you use, and make sure that your firmware version is up to date and that your controller is assigned to your account. Now I'm going to show you guys some settings that are in the game that you might not know affect your latency. It's important to mention that a lot of these settings won't feel like they do much for you, but since there's a lot of them, the little things will add up and eventually you'll feel a lot less delayed. Okay, so now I'm going to go over all the settings that give you delay. Starting off in the video tab at the bottom where it says report performance stats. I think this one's pretty obvious that you want to disable this one. Basically what it does is it just reports your performance stats, which you might think you need, but actually reporting the performance stats causes some delay. Next is in the volume tab, all the way down to where it says subtitles. Go to subtitles and set them to the same options I have them on. This basically just makes them extra small and off. That way there you don't have to register subtitles while you're playing. Next is in the game tab in the extra game options. Go down to NVIDIA highlights and set this to off if you're on PC. This just causes you delay and actually performance issues while you're playing. Same thing with the replays if you're on console or PC. Make sure to set all of your replays off. I have record replays on because it still causes a little bit of delay, but I like to go in my replays sometimes, so I keep this one on. But if you want absolutely no delay, set this to off. And then in the energy saving options, I think this one's pretty obvious as well. You want to turn this off. Saving energy at the cost of your performance is not what you need while you're playing, so make sure to set these off. Then in the touch and motion gyro options, make sure to just set them to the exact options that I have. This basically just makes them non-existent and you'll have no gyro options, which is good because you don't want gyro options being registered while you play. Even if you don't play on gyro settings, like if you have this on scope only, it's going to cause you some delay, so just make sure to set everything to the options I have it as. Then next is in the keyboard controls. Go down to MISC and go to where it says switch quick bar and set any keyboard bind as switch quick bar. This for some reason makes your game less delayed. Then next in the controller options, having the reset camera access option as both for some reason gives you less delay, so set that as both. Same with the reset camera time. And then also where it says foot controller, make sure to set this off and set these 2 bars to 1%. This has been like a known delay trick since, I don't even know, chapter 1. The last thing you can do if you want less delay on PC is actually set your controller platform option to generic. Even though I play on a PlayStation 5 controller, I set it to generic, so that way there I get less delay. And now I'm quickly gonna go over some settings that might be making you mess up while you play. So first you're gonna wanna come down here. You're actually gonna wanna set visualize sound effects on. This basically just makes it so you can see footsteps, shots, etc. Next in the game options, make sure toggle sprint is on for controller. You don't want to have to hold down a button to sprint. And then make sure auto open doors is on as well. Then for these, you might want to have hold to swap pickup on, so that way there you can swap out a weapon by just holding up your pickup button. Toggle targeting, you want to make sure it's off, so that way there you don't just click the button once and you're infinitely scoped in forever. Mark danger when targeting on, auto pickup weapons off. And then for these 3 in the building options, you're actually going to want to set auto confirm edits to none. I actually think that auto confirm edits messes you up unless you're a type of person that plays really fast and just likes to instantly edit. But if you like to make smart edits, having this set to none lets you do so much more. Then here, peripheral lighting, you want to make sure it's off. Peripheral lighting basically just makes it so that there's a bunch of lights around your screen that kind of get in your way and distract you, so make sure this is off. Same with the contextual tips. It says show helpful tips for new players, but considering you're watching this video and you want to become better, you won't really need helpful tips. And these helpful tips aren't exactly that helpful anyways. Then in the game UI, make sure you have reticle ammo indicator on. This basically shows you how much ammo you have left in your gun, so that way there you don't just randomly run out. And then you also want to set your damage number scale to 125%, so that way there you can actually see how much damage you're hitting. Make sure quest progress is off because it can get in the way if a quest is completed while you're playing, or if a quest is completed while you're like fighting somebody. It gets kind of annoying. In the keyboard controls, I see a lot of people not understanding why their controller isn't working. Make sure you have ignore controller input off and lock input method as mouse off. This basically just disables your controller. Then next, controller auto run, set this to off. If you have auto run on, you might mess up sometimes and you'll just auto run somewhere that you probably didn't want to. And make sure build immediately, builder pro is on. And also make sure vibration is off. Okay, and so if you haven't already, you also need to find your perfect sensitivity and binds for controller. And if you already have custom binds that you're used to and a good sensitivity that you're used to as well, I would recommend skipping this part, as changing binds and sensitivity will make you lose the muscle memory you've built for them. Okay, so if you're completely new to the game, what I'd recommend doing is just copying my settings. So 2.0 build sense, 2.1 edit sense, and then I have use advanced options on, so that way there you don't have these in your way. And then advanced look sense, I have 43% 43%, 43%, and then all my boosts off. Instant boost when building off. And then for the ADS settings, I have 9% and 9%. All the boosts off again. Look dampening time off again. Look input curve on linear. And then 100% aim assist strength and 6/6 dead zone. Now, the first thing I want to go over is dead zone, because you can use my same settings, but just on a higher dead zone. What I'd recommend doing is lightly pushing your controller stick until you feel the yellow circle getting just slightly bigger than the blue circle. This will basically make your sensitivity feel like as soon as you press it, it will go. And if it's too low, if you press it, the yellow circle will be way too big and your sensitivity will basically be faster than what it actually is. But yeah, just make sure you have the right dead zone before anything. And then when you go to your settings, if these settings that I have feel too fast or too slow for you, what you can do is just adjust them. So like if 43% feels a little bit too fast for you, you can bring it down to 40 or even 37 or 38 and just play around with it until your aim feels right. But then if you like the building and editing on 43%, but you want to play on like 38% but with the same speed, what these actually are multipliers, as it says right there, build mode sensitivity multiplier. So basically this is 2.0 times, for me, 43. So it would be 43 times 2, which 43 times 2 is 86, right? So if you want the same edit mode and build mode sensitivity, but on a different look sensitivity, what you'd have to do is, let's say we're going to go from 43 to, I don't know, 50%. Right? So to get the build mode sensitivity for the 50% look horizontal speed, we're going to have to divide 86, which is the build mode sensitivity multiplier's actual sensitivity for the look sensitivity. Divide 86 by 50, which is around 1.7 something, but we'll just round it up to 1.7. So the calculation for it will be on screen. If you don't understand the calculation that much, you can comment that you don't understand it and I'll help you figure it out in the comments. But it should be pretty simple if you just use the calculation on screen. Next is the ADS settings. Do the same thing that you did with the look speed, but just ADS instead. So go into some aim training map or just play around with your sensitivity and go ahead and set it to maybe 12, maybe a little bit lower, like 6%, until it feels pretty much perfect for you. And then that's about it for adjusting the settings if you're a beginner. Okay, so let's say you've been playing for a while and you enjoy using the basic look sensitivity and aim sensitivity like I've shown on screen. And you're playing on 6 normal plus and 3 slow plus, right? What you're gonna wanna do is turn on use advanced options. Make sure your sensitivities are still the same. And you're gonna see it has the advanced options now, but what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna copy from basic. Now you're gonna have your exact basic sensitivity, but on the advanced options. And what you're gonna see is that a bunch of boosts are in these settings. So just make sure to turn them down. And obviously, since the boost makes your speed a little bit faster, you might want to raise it just a little bit. And so you can just work from here, but this is basically going to be the basic settings, but on a better sensitivity. Same with the ADS thing, just turn down the ADS boost ramp time. And now you should have your settings for your basic settings that are in the advanced options. And since the basic options are exponential, you can set it to exponential if you want. If you're wondering which one of these input curves is better, in my opinion, I don't think either is better than the other. I think it just depends on your play style. If you're someone who likes to aim and likes to be very precise, I'd play with exponential. If you're someone who likes to be quick and likes to fight from close range, I'd suggest playing on linear. It really just depends on your play style, so make sure to play around with both. For your binds, I can't really tell you what binds you should use, and there's a lot more binds to cover than sensitivities. So the only thing I can really suggest to you guys is that you find as many buttons that you can easily press on your controller and setting them to the most important binds, which are in order from the best to worst: jump, switch mode, edit, pickaxe, tactical sprint, and crouch. The rest of the binds aren't as important, like for example the inventory bind or the map bind, so you can set those to buttons that you have a harder time pressing on your controller. Okay, so now that you've made it this far, you're pretty much ready to go. You have all of the tools to start improving, you feel comfortable holding your controller, and you have good sensitivity in binds, and your game is also fully optimized for performance. So now, all you need to do is practice. So even if you're trash or already good at the game, there is 100% something that you can do to improve. So you need to figure out what those things are. Is it your movement? Is it your aim? Is it your game sense? Is it your mechanics? Etc. A good example of this is me while I'm playing on keyboard. I know it has nothing to do with controller, but let me explain because it does have something to do with general improvement. So a lot of people assume that I'm already good at keyboard because they see me edit pretty fast and have decent aim. The problem is my movement on keyboard is abysmal and I have no game sense while playing on keyboard. So I'm basically the guy that spams the same retake or edit over and over again in a 1v1, which is why I don't really enjoy playing anything else but 1v1s on keyboard. If I had to though, I know that my movement and game sense sucks. And so the two things I would do personally to improve that are piece control maps that you have to edit and build in random directions to improve your movement and adaptability. And then after feeling warmed up with that, I would go play some zone wars and try to improve my game sense, as well as use the things I just learned in the piece control map to help me improve in a higher pressure environment. So the same thing applies with getting good at controller. If instead your aim and mechanics aren't that good, but you have decent game sense and good movement, you can practice aim training maps and practice piece control maps, as well as use free building maps with the slow motion option to progressively get better at a certain mechanic that you're trying to learn. So it's important to mention that if your main goal is to get better in game, you shouldn't spend all of your time trying to improve in practice maps in creative. And so right now, I'm gonna give you guys the number one secret tip to improve in game. And it's one of the most simple things that almost everyone still overlooks to this day. Are you ready for it? The number one tip to improve in game is playing the game. I know. It sounds so obvious and it sounds like the stupidest advice ever, but really it makes sense. I see a lot of my friends who are trying to improve spend so much time in creative, and when I 1v1 them, they're actually keeping up with me. But the thing is that once you spend all this time in creative, you'll go in game and you're gonna realize that you have more delay, limited materials, loot that isn't gold like it is in every single 1v1 map ever, and also you're gonna need to rotate into zones, find heals, farm mats, take smart fights, etc. Learning how to work around all of these things is true game sense and true skill. And so the number one best way to improve on these things is just to play the damn game. I know people who look like they should suck and lose every fight they take, but because they just play smarter, they end up dropping high kill games and living in situations most other people normally wouldn't. I mean, think about it. It makes sense. If you get into a big build fight and then someone at the bottom chops it out, killing you and the player you were fighting to fall damage, is the person at the bottom trash at the game? Or did they just capitalize on a good opportunity to chop out your builds and cash in on 2 free kills? So go play some games. Maybe if you're not confident in yourself yet, play some squad fills or play with someone who might be able to carry you a bit, but will let you fight your fights as well, so you can actually improve while still having fun. And then the more and more confident you feel, you can play some harder game modes, and eventually you'll be good enough to play ranked games and win consistently and just generally play better. Something else that's important to mention though is that trying to improve while also having fun is such a good way to improve. So don't throw yourself into a situation where you can't have fun or improve because you just won't improve. Start off with something easy but fun. And then the better you get at it, the more fun, harder things will be. I know it might be confusing, but moral of the story is just to have fun while improving, and don't blame something out of your control as the reason you died. Think about what you could have done better, and remember to try it the next time you get put in a similar situation. Anyways, that's just about everything. A lot of the advice in this video is made for you to get better aim, mechanics, and piece control, and even though I talked a little bit about how to improve in game, I didn't really go too in depth with it. And sadly, I can't fit everything I know about improving in game into this one video. So if you guys want to see a separate video about how to get better in game, let me know in the comments and I will make sure to turn that into a video as well. Also, if you have any questions about binds, sensitivity, or really anything related to this video, please comment your question as I'm gonna do my best to answer them all. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy the one on screen as well, because the video you just watched is an updated version of that one.